Yo, what's up, everyone? This is Alan Paris, aka Corn Lucky, and today I'm going to talk to you about Kasumi. She's one of the faster characters in the game, a little speed demon here, with a 9 frame jab, 11 frame mid poke, a 12 frame low poke, and she also has a 12 frame mid. She has a kick that she can poke with that's coming out in 11 frames. Um, she can also poke with her 3K. It's a little slower than her other pokes, but on normal hit, as you can see here, it gives her +4. Um, she's a pure rush down character, applying pressure whenever she can. She is The downside of that is that she is highly unsafe. So when someone's defending and they're blocking, you have to stick to just poking at them and not really going too deep off into her strings, because if you do, most likely you're going to be punished for it and you're going to give up the slight advantage that you do have as far as mixing people up with her different strings on block. So um, one of the places that you want to keep Kasumi is being at close range to a mid range. These are the two ranges that she can work fluently out of. The further she gets away from someone, the harder it is. But at a mid range, she has attacks that will hit or or will bring her into the opponent. As you see, her freeing kick here that I just whiffed at mid range, it missed, but these have follow-ups to it. There, it hit, but they also have follow-ups to it. So even if they miss, she can immediately go into her Hoshimpo dash and come out of it with attacks. Um, so at a mid-range, she's good. She also has her forward freeing kick that causes a sit-down stun, and she has her forward punch that causes a crumple stun. Um, and those are some of the things that she can do at a mid range. Okay, so as far as Kasumi and spacing goes, at times if you find yourself at the back of the screen because you've put yourself back here and didn't realize it, or you let your opponent get too far away from her, she is really bad at this range because she doesn't have anything that will allow her to close the gap safely. So what you have to do is, it's best if you don't whiff attacks. And I know a lot of beginners or players not knowing, they'll start whiffing attacks to actually start closing the gap between themselves and a character or another player, and that's really bad, especially depending on the type of character that you're playing against, because if that character excels at whiff punishing and you're whiffing attacks, you're just inching your way in to get counterblown. So how you will want to do it is either scooting your character in, and even if your opponent is running away from you, they're going to eventually bag themselves into a corner once you start playing on the other stages. This is the dojo stage. You really don't have to worry about this in tournaments or any type of casual play. Players typically don't pick it. So in any environment, them bagging or running away from you is going to backfire on them because she's so fast, and you don't want her, and you don't want to be between her and a wall. It's not really a good idea. So one of the things that you can do if you are back here, again, I can't stress enough, you don't want to whiff attacks, but if you just want to do it because you can't help yourself, you can do 3 punch plus kick. That's her raw Hoshimpo dash that she has out of her attack. She can do it raw by doing it that way, and just doing it once puts her in the range, or at least a step outside of the range of where she needs to be, and she's good right here because all it is just one little scoot and you're back where you need to have her. So you have that attack. You also have, but these are more so mid-ranged options, you have her forward punch, her 66p, and then her forward kick, 66k. But those aren't used to move in from a long range. Those are more so of once you get yourself into the desired range, which is preferably right about here, then you can apply those attacks, because if you notice, she steps forward when she does them. and they can also be used as whiff punishers. As you can see, on normal hit, they cause a stun that she can start working her magic once she gets a stun. So you don't want to whiff attacks, you just want to scoot your character in or apply just one little Hoshimpo dash. Some stages may be big enough to where you can actually get away with doing it twice and still be safe within range of not getting hit. So that's how you want to move her in. Um, After you space properly and you can get in if players do get away from you, what you want to score are counter hits with Kasumi. Her stun launch game really isn't all that strong. It's fairly weak because she thrives off working the stun game, and her mix-up game is really good for that. On here, counter hitting, stagger, escape, fastest. Okay, the lot of her stuns, actually all of her stuns, give her enough frame advantage to where she can actually follow up effectively with anything that she chooses. So this here being a lift stun, you can follow up with any mix up that you want to. So you go mid, jab, mid kick, low punch, and then you see all of this stuff, it combos into each other fluently. So the frame advantage that she gets off all of her pokes, like I was showing you, as I was showing you before, she can follow up with whatever it is that she likes. Her offense is her defense. So even when players are attacking at you, using her pokes and knowing where to put them, you'll score counter strikes pretty much all the time. And what also, although she is unsafe on block, as you can see here, every time I land a counter strike, she picks up frame advantage. Playing Kasumi, this is the damage that you're going to primarily be dealing with anyways when you're playing against players. Either from you poking in between their strings or you catching them trying to attack when they shouldn't be attacking. If you're coming across extremely defensive players and they're not really giving you the opportunity to counterblow them so she can start her offense, her throws come into big play here. So as you see here, this throw immediately starts her pressure. With her being as fast as she is, she picked up +10 from that throw alone. This throw as well, she picked up +10 from it, and once she gets back turn, she can actually get guaranteed juggles and combos from that. So you do have throws to open players up with, to continue on with her pressure game if you're coming across players that are playing extremely defensive and they're not really giving you the opportunity to counterblow them. And that's also as well that you can work in with her mix-up game. So if you're having players that are trying to really guess heavy and not really pay attention to what she's striking them with, and they're just going to try to hold out on you, she has this launching throw where she can follow up with juggles from, and she has another 12 frame throw that puts a massive amount of damage on the game. As of right now, that was on counter, but when you throw them on high counter, which is what you'll get every time they miss hold, this is the damage, 97 points of damage, and with this, her juggle damage can go well off into the hundreds. So this is how you effectively mix up with Kasumi and stringing together big damage. So once you throw players a few times doing this and or her launching throw, they're going to eventually stop holding because it's going to hurt. And at that point in time, that's when you can kind of mash on the gas and keep stringing together attacks on how she's supposed to be played in the stun game. So what I just did there is, that's a bound, and she gets a guaranteed juggle from that. You know, she can also critical burst as well. I messed up on that. And with that, that also sets up, it's a guaranteed stun, so you get a guaranteed launcher from that. She also has her bounds, another bound with a mid kick. It's also a sit down stun. So with that, players have to deal with this mix-up heavy character that has access to unholdable stuns that she can put you in, or stuns that allow her to continue her pressure. And whether someone chooses to hold or not, they're gonna hurt really bad if they allow her to string together things, or if they decide that they're going to hold out of her options. Even from her low throw, she gets a launch from that as well. So they're going up, even if, and that was on high counter as well. And her juggle damage is in the high 90s, and it can get into the 100 points of damage when you include the environment once she starts smacking you around in it. So what you want is to, once you have Kasumi, and once you score a counter hit, you can pretty much stop. A lot of beginners score counter hits with her and then immediately started mashing, mashing on the buttons. And once you score this, mission accomplished. You can actually sit and plot on what you're going to do. You don't have to do this and then immediately follow up with attacks after it. Once you score this, mission accomplished. It's a sit down stun. They can't do anything. So you don't have to, again, you don't have to mash on the buttons with her. A lot of beginners that I see play with Kasumi, it's like they get on the buttons and it's non-stop. You don't have to do that. You can take your time with everything it is that she does, just because the stuns that you're dealing with allow you to comfortably and fluently follow up with whatever it is that you want. And that sums up Kasumi. So her pros and cons: one of the faster characters in the game if you like speed, so no one's really gonna outpoke her, and she's one of the best characters to counter poke with. Her throws are extremely good given her speed, so they play heavily into her mix-up game, which is also, if you like that type of style of play, mixing it up, her throws and her attacks grant you this at will whenever you do score a counter hit, especially. But even in a neutral game, you can apply her mix-up game heavily there as well. The downside about her, she is highly unsafe, so there are major drawbacks to that, and smart players will expose you for it if you're not paying attention in what you're doing. She cannot space her zone, which is a big problem, because with her being so unsafe, you kind of have to keep her within range and keep up pressure with her in a safe manner, as hard as that is going to be for you. And her defense is her offense, so she really can't play defense all that well if you're not gonna watch when to counter poke players and when to poke in them. Just standing here blocking with her all day long, you're not gonna get the desired results that you will want to get for her. So you have to have a well balance of knowing when to hit buttons and when not to hit buttons as far as playing her. And defensive players, I will say that's one of her biggest issues there. But again, you can easily get those players and open them up, applying her correctly. So those are pretty much her pros and cons, and that's Kasumi for this evening. Thanks for listening, and if you want to pick up any more additional information on her, you can go to freestepdodge.com. And hit up the Kasumi subforums and see what else you can find in there. There's juggles and other topics that are being talked up on her, if you want to explore the character even more. Comment as far as what you think I could do better as far as doing these tutorials. Just now starting out doing them. And let me know what you guys think as far as if it was helpful or unhelpful to you, and I will work on designing and doing these better than what I'm doing them now if it's not all that good. Thanks for watching.